Relax, relax, relax. Almost the worst weather we've had on my workshop so far, but almost the best turnout. Basically, I am not a coach. I'm not going to teach you how to run. I want to teach you how to teach yourselves how to run. It's about how it feels to you. You know, listen to your body and your soles. We have really cool sensors in the bottoms of our feet, which is just like, they're right there telling us every step of the way, especially if we're doing something wrong. You know, a kid starts out standing the first time they stand, and they might take a step, and they don't think, gee, I just took a step, and you know, whether they're barefoot or in shoes or whatever, they're not thinking, maybe next month I'll run a marathon. So, you know, they're just thinking how incredible it is that they can take a step. And we kind of have to look at it like, this is a new experience for us, for anybody especially who's been in shoes all their life. It's not just like running with shoes, except without the shoes. It's not something you have to endure. If it hurts, you should be thinking about how I can change the way I'm moving so that it doesn't hurt. And then while you're learning, which means you're not out there running 5 miles, you're just playing around, experimenting. We have this whole research lab built into our body, the sensors in the feet, the computer up here, you know, the activators, the muscles, and all that cool stuff. This should be a research project for you. It should be you're discovering something new. While you're out there discovering, the soles are going to toughen up, your feet are going to get stronger. And what's really cool is if you're learning to run more gently, they only have to get half as strong as you think they have to be. If you've had your feet in shoes for a while, it may take a while for you to learn to understand that information, and it may take a while for you to redevelop the reflexes that you would have naturally developed if you had grown up, say in Kenya, running around barefoot from the moment you started running. Your body will meet you halfway, which is all it needs to meet you if you run correctly. The goal of running is to move the body forward. Anything that doesn't contribute to that or anything that gets in the way of that is wasted energy. So like if you throw your foot out in front of you and just wait for gravity to pull it down like this, well, I've just stopped my forward momentum, so that's wasted energy. What we really want to do is contribute to forward motion, or at least not get in the way of it. I like things easy, I like things comfortable. So in the name of easy, I like to balance my head on top of my body. I like to balance my torso on top of my hips. If I lean forward like this, you know, these back muscles have to work constantly. The neck muscles, if I'm bending forward like this, have to work constantly. There's a couple other problems with that. One of those problems is I can't breathe as easily. I've closed up my windpipe. But the other problem is the goal of running is to run forward. You can get away with doing something a little bit wrong for 5, 10, 15 miles, but if you do a marathon, there's a cumulative effect. Start doing something wrong at mile 20, or if you've been doing something wrong for 20 miles, you'll start noticing it. In the case of my first barefoot road marathon, I went out, this feels really good, let's see how fast I can go, you know, the first 20 miles. And then I hit this big wall. I invented what I call the run, nap, run method. So you run a little bit, you take a nap, let your heart rate come down, let your energy reserves pump some more energy into the blood, and then you start running again or walking. And there's these walls along the bike path. They're about yay tall, a nice flat spot, nice place to lay down and rest. So before I turned over to take my nap on the wall, I figured I'd check to see if there's anyone behind me. And of course, as soon as I turned my head like this, my body turned and I run into the person behind me. Whichever way my head's facing is the way my body wants to move. You know, if I'm running along like this, I can run forward, but I have to make little compensation somewhere. It's just easier to face the direction you want to run in. So if I want to run that way, I'm going to turn my face that way, my body that way, and everything's going to be facing that way. Did I mention relax? First time I ran Rock and Roll Marathon San Diego, you know, I'm running along, and every once in a while I'd see somebody with a shirt, and on the back of the shirt it said, relax shoulders. Okay, well, the goal of running is to move the body forward, but the other 3 things you have to remember is relax, relax, and relax. I don't want to be rigid. I don't want my head like intensely, man, that hurts, and focused on whatever I'm running towards. Relax, relax, relax. It's really easy to run if you just bend your knees, keep your torso vertical, relax, relax, relax. Oh, there's one other good thing about that. I've loaded these springs, and then I push my hips forward in front of my feet, and the springs on load automatically. Relax your arms. They'll kind of do what they need to do when you're running. Just move the hips in front of your feet, or if you want to run backward, you move them behind your feet. It's basically what I'm doing is getting off balance a little bit so that I virtually fall forward. Or you can tie a dog to your waist and find a squirrel. I want to get my mass in front of my feet in order to get me to off balance so that I'm moving forward. And that's the scary part about all this is that fear of falling in front of your feet. But as long as you keep your torso vertical and start short, slow, build gradually as you get more proficient, and you're facing the direction you want to run rather than facing down, you're less likely to land on your face. It's basically about keeping your feet underneath your center of balance, except that you kind of want to be just a little off balance depending on how fast you want to run forward. But I just kind of let gravity do the work. On the downhill, relax and move my feet as quickly as I need to keep it up with my body.
Bending your knee and you're flexing your ankle and you're bending you're using that spring that Ken Bob is talking about. That's called compliance. Compliance is the spring divided by the force applied. So by landing in a compliant way, you also spread that impact over a longer period of time. So the rate of loading decreases. So all you need to do to run barefoot is to decrease the effective mass, don't heel strike, and have a compliant landing, i.e. just be relaxed, let all those joints just flex as you hit the ground. If you do those two things, you'll be fine. If you don't run barefoot, you're never quite sure what you're doing.